The Quiet Dawn, the untold story of a Mafia kingpin, Russell Bufalino, is a non-fiction book written by Matt Birkbeck. A project the result of 6 years of reporting and researching, bringing about the facts of the life of Russell Bufalino, reputed mob boss of the northeastern Pennsylvania crime family for decades. Bufalino, unlike many members of the Italian-American crime syndicate, did not live a flashy life full of big houses and fast cars. As his nickname suggests, he was a quiet and reserved man, and was gentle and kind to strangers and friends alike. It's easy to see then how it would be bemusing to think such a character could be one of the most powerful and ruthless crime bosses in American history, but that is the case, and Birkbeck's book dissects and picks at the life of Bufalino from his birth in Sicily and emigration to the United States all the way to his death in a nursing home after a life that yielded immense power in the Mafia, in legitimate businesses, in racketeering and criminal enterprises, and in politics. Birkbeck's style is to bluntly and clearly tell the facts. It's not really a narrative book, one that takes you through the tensions of mob meetings and the brutality of mob hits and such. Rather, it acts like a good resource for those looking to do research on related subjects. It's quite a good companion piece to Charles Brandt's I Heard You Paint Houses. In fact, that book is mentioned in this one, and is one of the primary sources. Speaking of facts, The Quiet Dawn literally assaults you with them. It aggressively throws names, dates, places, agencies, litigations, trials, and all sorts at you that makes your brain go fuzzy and you have to take a break. It often meant reading and rereading paragraphs again and again to take everything in, but it's also a testament to how much effort and research was put into the book. The book interchanges between following the exploits of Bufalino and that of someone called Louis de Naples separately. The covering of de Naples taking place sometime after the death of Bufalino. De Naples had ties to Bufalino and was one of his underlings, and the book heavily investigates de Naples applying for and receiving a gaming license for a casino in the noughties, and the subsequent investigation into the corruption and conspiracy surrounding the handling of the gaming license to such a controversial figure with obviously links to organized crime. The book delves so deep into the dodgy businessman de Naples that you end up feeling shortchanged, really, in a way, because you're thinking, I bought this book because it's called The Quiet Dawn, not The Quiet Dawn and the legal issues of one of his many associates. I mean, I understand why Birkbeck did it. He wanted to show how Bufalino's influence and legacy stretch to the present day, how current events have been shaped by practices done decades ago hidden behind closed doors. And there's some ominous lines in the book about so-called sleepers, current members of the Bufalino crime family who are in high positions in society. But still, this is supposed to be a book about Russell Bufalino, and it's about 100 pages before we really get into the interesting parts about his life, and only 50% of the book is about him. To be honest, I wasn't too interested in these sections concerning Louis de Naples, but when the book explored Bufalino's relationship with Jimmy Hoffa, his employment of Frank Sheeran, the Appalachian meeting, his dipping into the Teamsters pension fund, the beef with Fidel Castro, and the alleged dealings with the CIA and the Bay of Pigs invasion, as well as all the standard mob stuff, that was when the book really picked up. It wasn't as captivating as I Heard You Paint Houses, because it's not really trying to entertain you, more inform you, but there's loads of things I learned that I hadn't known before, lots of new stuff revealed that previous works had not mentioned. At the same time though, it has to be said that because the book looks to tackle all aspects of his life, sometimes details are scant and glossed over, despite the research and facts being precise. Major events are covered in a few paragraphs before moving on to the next thing, and it's a bit frustrating because as well as this you have so many pages dedicated to the modern day story of de Naples. The title of the book and the blurb promises the definitive account of the life of McGee, as he was known by those close to him, but this doesn't quite live up to the promise. The subject matter is of course very interesting and compelling, but I did feel the writing style at times was awkward. Birkbeck's research is brilliant, but at the same time this is not an encyclopedia page nor a newspaper report, and the writing could have done with a bit of tightening up. Sometimes entire trial questionings and reports are laid out, page after page, without editorialization. Sometimes it's fascinating, but other times you think, Why am I having to read all of this? Is it a case of longing out what is essentially quite a quick and short read? The jumping between dates and events can be confusing, and sometimes some narratives just randomly end without notice. Still though, it is an entertaining book for those who want to learn more about Russell Bufalino and his criminal empire. I will say though, in a way this book feels more about his inner circle and the people around him and those who worked under him. After reading the book, I asked myself, what did this book tell me about Russell Bufalino's attitude to things, his personality, his relationships, etc., etc.? What was he like, for starters? It doesn't feel like the book told me about the man himself, and instead gave facts on ventures he was involved in. Saying that though, valuable information can be drawn from the book, and lots of info relating to Bufalino's life, but it isn't quite the essential exploration of the Quiet Dawn I thought it was going to be, although it does make a good attempt. A praiseworthy attempt, seeing as though it can't have been easy to get information on such a reclusive figure.